September, Thursday. Today when I woke up, I saw that one of my pillows was all the way at the door. At first I was questioning as to how that got there, until I remembered that usually when that happens, that means there's something I need to remember. However, I surprisingly had a hard time remembering what I was supposed to do. In fact, all I could think about while finishing my math homework was what I was supposed to do. Think, Greg, think, come on. But after an hour, I finally remembered what I was going to do. Oh yeah, I was going to give back Rowley's copy of Twisted Wizard 7. However, that gave me another question. Wait, who was Rowley again? I tried so hard to remember who this Rowley person was, but nothing came out of it. The only thing I could remember about this guy was that their name was Rowley Jefferson, and I think he's my best friend. Nonetheless, I attempted to remember more details of Rowley until my family called me to breakfast. I tried to ask my family if they know anything about Rowley Jefferson, but they were no help. Never heard of him. Sorry, doesn't ring a bell, Greg. Bobby. I know who Rowley is. He's your boyfriend. After I was done eating breakfast, I went to school. But the entire day, all I could think about was who is Rowley Jefferson. I tried to ask one of my classmates if they knew who Rowley was, but the answer was about what I expected. Psst, you know who Rowley Jefferson is? I don't know, but he sounds like a dork. I eventually decided to go see Vice Principal Roy to see if the school had any record of Rowley, but unsurprisingly, they had nothing. Closest person we have is Ronald Johnson. Is that who you're looking for? No, I'm looking for Rowley Jefferson. Sorry, Gregory, we don't have any records of a Rowley Jefferson in this school. I ended up walking home empty-handed until I ran into Fregley. Well, more accurately, he jumped out of the bushes and started to rant about his usual nonsense. Reality is falling apart at the seams. Oh, Fregley, what are you doing? Greg, I don't have long left. Please, don't forget me. Don't forget Fregley. That was one of the only things I remember Fregley yelling at me about, because the second I went home, all of the crap he told me went straight out of my head. The only other thing I can remember from Fregley's incomprehensible rant is that he said that I needed something to remember him, just in case he gets erased. So he gave me a freaking brick with his name sharpied on it. Friday. When I woke up, I noticed that there was a brick on my desk. I had no idea why it was there. I just assumed that this was one of Rodrick's pranks, until I saw that the word Fregley was sharpied onto it. That gave me one question. Who's Fregley? I have no idea who this... Fregley. Wait a second. That name sounded familiar. Didn't I write about him in the previous page? I've got to check to see if I did or not. Alright, I just read the previous page and yeah, I almost remember him. If I remember correctly, he's the weird kid in the neighborhood. Wanna join me in summoning a monster from another dimension? Oh, another timeline. He actually did. I mean, I don't have any friends, so maybe I should go talk to Fregley at school. 6 hours later. So I'm writing this after school and strangely, I couldn't find Fregley anywhere. I thought that maybe he would be sitting on the floor at lunch since that's where he usually sits. But when I went there, he wasn't there. I'm assuming that maybe he's sick, and if I remember correctly, that kid eats fertilizer, so I'm gonna drop by his house tomorrow. Saturday, for some reason there was a brick on my desk. I was super confused, but the brick had the word Fregley sharpied on it. And that sounds familiar. I'm asking through all the pages I've written in so far to get my memory back a little, because at the moment it's a little fuzzy. Okay, am I losing my mind? That whole thing where I was trying to search for Rowley completely slipped out of my mind. I don't know what's been happening, but clearly there's something trying to make me forget these people exist. So I'm going to drop everything and search for both Rowley and Fregley. I just have one problem. Like I said, there's something attempting to make me forget that Rowley and Fregley exist. So I'll need something to remind me of them. I already have the brick to remind me of Fregley's, so I decided to write a reminder for Rowley on my hand. Find out who Rowley Jefferson is. I'm going to start searching for Rowley first because he's supposed to be my best friend. The problem is that I have nowhere to search, but I do have an idea. Maybe if I try hard enough to remember where I told Rowley that I was going to give him back his copy of Twisted Wizard 7, then maybe I can get started. All I need to do is think hard enough. Sunday. Okay, I spent basically the rest of yesterday trying to remember something, and I might have gotten something. Greg, can you please give me back Twisted Wizard 7? It's been 3 months. Yeah, sure, I'll give it back tomorrow. Of course, the country club. I remember me and Rowley would go there was to spend summer. Getting back on track while I believe that memory was from July is still enough to start my search. I rushed downstairs to ask Mom to take me to the country club, but she had no idea what I was talking about. What country club, Greg? The one I would always go to during summer. Sorry, Gregory, I don't believe we have a country club in Plainview. That place couldn't have been erased too. I decided to look it up to see if it still existed, and unfortunately, it was. No results found. Fortunately, that means I'm back at square one. I'm going to need to think of something else in order to find out what's going on. Monday. I've got it. What if I reread all of my journals? My idea is that since I wrote and even drew Rowley in my journals, that could give me at least a visual of Rowley. On top of that, I could get more places to search. I'm going to my closet to grab all my journals. Hold up. I just got all of my journals and I seriously do not remember writing in 20 of these things. I thought that I had only written in 5 journals, not 20. I thought it was only going to take me a couple of hours to read all of them, but it might take me a couple of days instead. Tuesday. I haven't even finished reading the first one, and I think whatever's been messing with my memories and erasing me from existence is starting to mess with my journals too. No joke, this is what one of the drawings look like. Huh? Excuse me? Say what? I decided to skim through the second journal and it's the same for that one. In fact, it's the same for every single one. The writing has also been affected, mostly the names and locations, so I can't get anything useful from these journals. However, I did get one question. How am I still 12 years old when I've written in over 20 journals? Realistically, I should be 32 years old. Man, this is getting freaking crazy. Wait, I just realized why can't I write a swear word? I tried to write the F word in the previous sentence, but I just wrote frick instead. It's like something is physically stopping me from writing those words. No, I need to focus. All of these are just distractions. I'm going to need to think of another way to figure out what's going on since clearly there's something trying to stop me from finding Rowley and Fregley. Wednesday. I don't really know how to describe everything that happened today, but I'll try my best. It started in algebra. I fell asleep in class when I could have sworn I heard someone say, "Just give up, Greg." The only logical explanation I could come up with is that maybe that was just been from my dream, but that kind of felt real for some reason. Then in recess, someone just punched me for no reason. Sissy. I've literally have done nothing to provoke them, nor have I even interacted with them in my life. But the weirdest thing that happened today was when I got home and Mom started to talk about the bully incident. Oh, Greg, I'm so sorry to hear that you got bullied today. I was really confused. How does she know about that? I hadn't called or texted her about it, so I asked about how she knew about it. How do you know about that? Your principal told me about it on the phone. That doesn't make sense because I would have went to the principal's office, had a talk with him, and then he would have called my parents. I don't even think any adults were there when the incident happened. I tried to tell Mom the same thing I just wrote down, but she interrupted me. But Mom, oh, I got an idea. How about you join the Plainview dojo? Mom then started to yap about how she used to go to this dojo when she was a girl, but I was honestly really confused. At this point, this conversation had only been going on for 3 minutes, and she was suggesting that I go learn karate. Hold on, don't you think this is happening way too quickly? Well, I just want what's best for you, Gregory. I started to get really weirded out by Mom's behavior, but then I came to a realization. What if this was a Truman Show situation? It's the only explanation I could come up with for everything that has been happening. I knew my mom was attempting to distract me from my investigation, so I decided to ask her a trick question. Mom, don't you find it weird how we've been the same age for 20 years? I haven't noticed anything like that. Mom tried to convince me I was just feeling like 20 years passed because of how quickly I was going through middle school, so I brought up all of my journals. Well then, how do you explain how I've written over 20 journals? Mom looked very nervous once I asked that, until she said something that I'm 100% sure came out of the blue. Surprise, Greg, we're going to be taking a vacation to Paris tomorrow. I was really disorientated after she said that. She went from talking about how I should defend myself to bullies to suddenly announce the vacation. I went downstairs to ask Rodrick if he had noticed anything weird going on, but he was already packed for the vacation. I'm convinced I'm living in a simulation. Nonetheless, I still asked Rodrick if he had noticed anything weird going on, like if he had noticed any of his friends or even bandmates go missing without a trace. But instead, he just dodged my question and started to act extremely rude to me. Why don't you stop bothering me and beat it, twerp? Jeez, I was just asking a question. I went back upstairs only to see that Mom, Dad, and even Manny were finished packing for our vacation. It's only been 5 minutes, by the way. I was just about to head to my room when Mom stopped me to ask if I've packed my stuff. Greg, have you finished packing for our vacation yet? No, Mom, I haven't even started. Well, you should get started now. We will be leaving at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, I'll go do it right now. I didn't pack anything. Instead, I just sat on my bed to think about everything that has been going on since last Thursday. Nothing makes sense. People and places are disappearing without a trace and then suddenly forgetting about their existence. Everyone, including my family, acting really weird and even robotic, and especially that weird voice I heard at school. I'm starting to think Fregley's right about reality falling apart. I absolutely know that whoever or whatever is controlling my life pulled the vacation to France as a way to distract me and eventually forget about everything I've been doing. There's no way I'm coming to France though, so I'm going to need to come up with a plan to sabotage our vacation. Friday. I got up at 5 as I needed at least an hour to make sure my plan would be a success. I felt overwhelmingly tired for some reason. I went to bed at 10 p.m. sharp, yet it feels like I've gotten only an hour of sleep. However, I persevered and went downstairs to the kitchen to grab a knife. You may ask, what purpose I need a knife for? To slash the tires of both of my parents' cars, of course. I made sure to also slash any backup tires so we will be delayed even more and hopefully miss our flight to France. Once I was done destroying my parents' cars, I went back inside to do the second part of my plan, get rid of the plane tickets. I carefully sneaked into my parents' room to retrieve the tickets. Heard Dad snore and moved around a little, which caused me to get scared as I thought that I woke him up. Luckily, he was still asleep, but I had to be extra careful when I snuck out of my parents' room. Thankfully, I got out before either of them could wake up. Now, all I need to do is destroy the tickets. All I did was simply throw them in the garbage. It was about 5:20 when I had finished everything, which was a lot quicker than I thought it would take. I headed back to bed to hopefully get some sleep, but I couldn't fall back asleep because I heard another voice like the one I heard at school.
What matter in the end, Gregory?
I couldn't fall back asleep after hearing that again. Since I was sleep deprived, that could have also been in my head. But that's the second time that's happened. It can't be a coincidence, right? By the time I actually fell back asleep, it was time to wake up. Wake up, Greg. You're gonna miss our flight. At around 6:30, my mom told everyone to go outside to pack their luggage. But Mom would come out to discover the tires slashed. I was worried that the tires were going to be magically repaired, but luckily they weren't. However, I realized that I had completely forgotten to slash Rodrick's fan. I thought that for sure Mom was going to use Rodrick's fan's tires for her car, and unfortunately, I was right. Rodrick, may I please borrow the tires from your van? Fine, but only this one time. A bit surprised that Rodrick said yes considering how he was acting like a jerk to me yesterday. In fact, he's been acting more like a jerk to me lately. Dad and Rodrick spent 20 minutes changing the tire, and when they were done, it was time to go to the airport. Hopefully we don't experience any more delays. I'm sure we won't, Frank. Once we got to the airport, I tried to go as slow as possible, but Mom, Dad, Rodrick, and even Manny were rushing me, and I kinda cracked under pressure. After a while, we made it to the main booth where you're supposed to hand over your tickets. I crossed my fingers hoping that Mom didn't magically get them, and surprisingly, she didn't. Frank, do you know where the tickets are? I thought you had them. After a couple of minutes, Mom came over to tell me the best news that's happened to me in the last couple of days. Sorry boys, but our vacation has been cancelled. What? Mom was sad, Dad and Rodrick were upset, and Manny was throwing a fit. As for me, I was the happiest I've been in ages. I really thought that something would manipulate reality to make my plan fail, but it surprisingly sort of worked out. I'm planning on continuing my research for Rowley and Fregley, but for now, I'm just going to go back to sleep. Friday. We just barely made it to the plane, but luckily we made it just in time. While I am a bit hesitant to go to France, I do think it will be an interesting trip. It just kinda sucks that I have to sit in between a family. Yeah.